Hi, it's Elaine from Penguin Place Crafts. And it's been so long since I made a video. I'm trying to remember, how do I do this? It's not quite that bad, but it has been a while because we went out of town on Friday and stayed down in the area by my daughter's house. It's about a 3.5 hour drive down to Pennsylvania. Um, and did a show down there and then stayed through Sunday, went to church with them, had lunch. Then my daughter and her two older had a practice for their Christmas pageant, and the youngest was ready for her nap, so we came home and I just collapsed into my chair. No, first I unloaded the car, collapsed into my chair and didn't do much of anything, just recovering from the weekend and trying to organize my thoughts, and I'm hoping that I am organized enough to do this recap. The coffee is still hot because it's only 9:30 in the morning, and I have an ambitious to-do list written up. Okay, let's start with the trip down. I grabbed a bag of pink yarn. Back here, I sort of reorganized this shelf. This shelf is Ziploc bags with cakes of like one color, like a cake of pink, a cake. There's a bag of pink cakes, a bag of blue cakes, and to try and clear up some of the mess on the craft cart and make it a little easier when it's like, okay, I need a pink to go with this. What do I do? Come in here and see, oh, here's pink. Okay, so I took some pinks and browns and what was left over of the Miss Shy Scrappy Challenge bag 4, which wasn't that much. Started out making a snake, a little snake from the book. Oh, as far as patterns are concerned, I took two printed patterns, and the book No-Sew Amigurumi by Genna Tatu. So that I figured, okay, I'll make stuff from these two. So I started out with the book making a snake. Well, I ran into trouble with the snake. When I put in the safety eyes, I skewered the working yarn. So I thought, okay, I'll just like unwrap. No, I couldn't just unwrap it from around the safety eye. I had skewered it. It was stuck in there. The logical thing to do would have been cut the yarn, retie it, and move on. Oh no, I want to get that undone. And in the process of trying to get the yarn out, I pulled the safety eye through to the wrong side. Like the safety eyes, you can't pull them out from the outside, but it was a small safety eye and it came through rather easily from the inside. Didn't want to waste the safety eye. So I'm sitting there with my scissors trying to cut the backing off. This as we're going down the road at like 65 miles an hour and hitting bumps and all that. Trying to cut the safety eye. Couldn't get that done, so I put that back in the safety eye container. Now that I'm home and I have sharper scissors, more pointed scissors. Oh, did I say that those scissors were like kindergarten kid scissors? I put another safety eye in. I'll deal with that later. So I finally finished up project number 1, the striped snake. Then came after the striped snake. Then I got out still the Genna book, turned it to the Gecko page, and with the lizard page, and I made a little lizard with the scrap yarn. I had the color change yarn that went from green, Did I start at orange? I don't remember. But I did add, I think, red and blue to it to finish it out. And that turned out cute. Sorry. I'm getting all these, like, first I thought I heard my husband knocking at the door, so I had to, you, what? But he was doing something else. And then I sneezed, had to delete that out. This could be a lot of editing today. Then the third item I finished on the trip down was, I'm not sure what it was. I started out thinking I was going to make a monster. And then when I got it finished, it's like, this looks more like a bird. So you can decide, is it a monster or is it a bird? So we get to my daughter's house and visit with them for a little bit. Then we go to set up. I can insert a video here of once we were done setting up. Okay, I am all set up in the cubbies. Big stuff on the table. I still have some signs to set up tomorrow, but for the most part, we're done. Okay, we set up fairly quickly because I was organized. I mean, I'd had my husband, okay, here's a Ziploc bag of the stuff that's going to hang on the grids. Since you're tall, you can put that up there. Okay, here's a bag of ducks. Just pick a cubby hole and line up the ducks. Here's a bag of bunnies. Line up the bunnies. Just and we put all these bags out and we're all set up. Went back. Oh, yes. On the way down, I realized, now I don't even see it here, I did not have a sewing needle. I'm going to have to find that and put it back. I took my purple craft bag. My purple craft bag has everything in there that you need to craft. Well, before I went down, I think on Thursday, I needed to sew a button onto something. I took this out of the craft bag to use the needle. It fell to the floor, so it was down like this on the floor. And I didn't see, I just thought I put it back in. So I had no needle to do the embroidery on the last item I finished on the car ride down. I finished a cat, but I didn't embroider on the face. So once I got to done setting up, we stopped at Walmart, which is right around the corner from my daughter's house. It's dangerous living where Walmart is like a 3-minute drive because, oh, let's just go over to Walmart and get it. Oh, you can't find this? Let's just go over to Walmart and get it. And I have a Grammie tradition. At some point during the visit, I will either go to Walmart or a grocery store and bring a lot of fruit because all 3 of my granddaughters love fruit. So when I went in, I got a pineapple, one of the big things of blueberries, and some red seedless grapes. By the time I left, the grapes and the blueberries were gone, and the pineapple was like 3/4 gone. Yeah, they like their fruit. I also went over to the craft section, and I got a craft kit because this craft kit had a nice metal needle, which is no longer in here. It also had a stitch marker. The only stitch marker I had left in my craft bag was I had 2 of those little twirly ones. And now I only have 1 of those little twirly ones because one of them popped out of my work and it's somewhere in the car and I haven't been able to find it. I like these. I like the locking ones because they're not going to fall out of your work. So I had a needle now. I finished up the cat and then I moved on to starting the pizza. So that was Friday night. Went back to the hotel and got a good night's sleep. Saturday morning, I went in and finished putting up little labels here and there, like you saw on the setup. I just had all the birds. I eventually put up little signs that said, like, birds, $10, bunnies, $12, the hamsters and possums and all that, $10. So everything on the shelves, pretty much, everything where it was all one price was labeled. And then it started. Show started at 9:30. I got my first sale before 10. It's hard to pinpoint at what point this sale exactly came, because there was a big problem. There was no Wi-Fi, and there was no cell service. The school's Wi-Fi only allotted 100 spots, and there were over 200 vendors there. So once 100 people logged into the Wi-Fi and other people were trying to, it crashed and no one had internet. Oh, wasn't that fun? So this lady comes up and she goes, "My son wants a banana dinosaur." I'm like, "Oh, the Bananasaurus is worth it." Yes, we want this. How much is it? $12. And she said, "Can you take cards?" And I said, "I don't think so, because I don't have Wi-Fi." I said, "I can go outside and try to do it manually entering the numbers." And she like hands me her credit card and says, "Okay, go." Like she's giving me her credit card and letting me leave the building. So I went outside and I tried it, and it didn't work with swiping the card. So I tried entering it. No, I had to come back in and ask somebody else who uses Square. It's been a couple of years since I entered a number manually. How do you do this manually? Okay. She showed me how to do it. So I go back outside and I start to do it, and it wants the lady's zip code. I don't know her zip code. I don't even know what zip code I'm in down there. So I go back in and get her zip code, come back out, try again. Finally got, I think I made 4 trips outside with this lady's credit card. Finally got to go through, and she goes, "I want to make sure, here, I'll leave my phone number. If there's a problem, give me a call. I will read you the numbers over the phone. I don't want you to get..." So that was my first sale of the day. And then I put a little card up next to my payment options saying, "I'm sorry, I can't take credit cards. There's an ATM over there in the corner. If you want to go to the ATM." I did lose out on sales because I could not take credit card sales. Then, just as soon as I was done with her, somebody came along and said, "I want that chicken. One of my chickens hanging in the basket." Yes, my plan of hanging things worked. I sold a hanging chicken. She took the purple one. It was a purple chicken in a pastel basket. And yeah, I sold the chicken. $26. I'm over halfway to having the table paid for. I also made a math error on that. I added 12 and 14 and came up with 36 instead of 26. So for the rest of the day, my numbers were off. Yeah, that's my math sometimes doesn't math. After the purple chicken, somebody else came along and got one of the hanging chicks. For $12, I made a little chick, and I ran out of yellow, so I made a gray hat on the chick's head, and then I put it in a swing, and that sold in a basket, and that sold for $12. Okay, up to 38, $2 away. $2 away from paying for the table. Then at 10:16, a young lady came by, and she goes, "I want a possum." So I pulled all the possums off the shelf, and I'm like, "Okay, here, there's 5 to choose from. Which one?" She's looking, and she picked one. Got a $10 possum. So at that point, $48 and said, "Oh no, $48 is $2 shy of the table being paid for." Then a woman came along and the child that was with her wanted the Quirky Pear. I'm going to have to see if I have a picture of the Quirky Pear. I found a YouTube tutorial for this, and it was just so bizarre looking. I had to make it. And, okay, $12, bought the Quirky Pear. And then she starts rooting through the $5 bin, and she got a chicken and a Loafcat from the $5 bin. So the Quirky Pear made the table paid for at 10:25. So once again, it's right around that 10:30. That's when the table's paid for. And moved up into a more profitable range with the 2 more sales from the $5 bin. Then a few minutes late, like 10 minutes later, someone came along and was like, I want that penguin. It was the sparkly purple, gray, and blue penguin that I made a few months back with some sparkly yarn. I thought it was really cute. I'm not surprised that it sold. And I sold one of my scrappy balls, the only scrappy ball of the day to sell. But that's okay. 10:58, bright yellow mushroom duck. I sold the mushroom duck. Yay! And the kid was just sitting there playing with, look at, the top comes up and goes down. Look at this. Isn't this cool? I love it when kids just get excited about playing with the toys. Okay. Greg Gecko. Okay. Another woman came along and was looking at the gecko and lizard shelf. She bought a rainbow gecko. It was made with like a happy rainbow yarn, and it was from the Greg the Gecko pattern. So I think I need to update that Etsy listing because I have made some recent geckos. I'd like to get that listing up a bit. Sometimes I've had as many as 8 geckos there, and I don't have many Greg the Geckos left. Greg the Gecko. After that, a little girl came by and she wanted my pink dinosaur. It's a little pink dinosaur from a Temu pattern. I think it was actually from the Temu kit because it was on the smaller side, made with a smaller yarn. Purple duck. That duck shelf, I sold 2 ducks today. At least 2. Just simple pattern. All the patterns will be linked in the description in the order that I'm reading them out because I will go from my list. Let's see, only 1 page. Oh well. Page 2 became my to-do list. Purple duck. Simple pattern. Quickly works up. 2 minutes after her, somebody came through and bought a purple platypus. I'm glad I had a platypus shelf. Well, actually, the purple platypus was from the $5 bin. Okay. That wasn't from the shelf. But the $5 bin did well today. I had 4 or 5 sales from the $5 bin. She got a platypus and a capybara. Then, 11:20 or so, my husband came by. He went to a church breakfast, a men's breakfast, waffles and bacon, at my son-in-law's church. And after the breakfast, my son-in-law dropped him off so that he could get the car and go do things and then come back at 3 o'clock when it was time to set up or to break down. So I was like, okay, I have to go outside to let my phone get cell service. Someone told me that the school has cell phone blockers and they didn't turn them off for the weekend. So none of the crafters could even get a signal inside. You had to go outside, get a signal. Okay, I'm going to go outside and get a signal. I come back in and he's like, I made $32 in sales. What? He goes, yeah, I sold the big blue squid over there for $20. And then there's a $12 item. And it was over there too. I'm like, oh no. What? And I'm looking like, okay. And I said, okay, these dinosaurs are 12. Was it one of these dinosaurs? He goes, no, I think it was a dinosaur, but it wasn't one color like that. It was lots of different colors. And I was like, oh, got it. Mary makes T-Rex in camo. Got it. So, yay! I got a little break. I did, at this show, I have never walked around and seen the whole place. One of these days. Once I get my husband trained a little better, like when you sell something, flip over the tag and copy down what's written on the back. It would have said, Mary makes T-Rex blue camo. And then I would have known exactly what it was. But he's not used to it, so it was probably overwhelming. After that, I sold another dinosaur. One of my cute little dinosaurs. I wrote down that I sold the purple one. And then when I got home, I realized I have 2 purple dinosaurs of that. There's a light purple and a dark purple. There's like lavender and cream, and there's purple and green. So I have to go through my dinosaur bag and find out what's left so I know which one I sold so I can update Etsy. Yes, that's kind of day it is. Then I sold another Loafcat. The highlighter Loafcat. In, I think, one of the Miss Shy scrappy bags. There was some yarn that had like bright highlighter colors. And I put it together with just chenille from Dollar Tree and made this really cute Loafcat, and that sold. I sold another penguin, a purple penguin. Then I sold at 1 o'clock the big blue steg. That was another one from the blue variegated yarn that I was trying to use up in a challenge a few months ago. I still have 2 of them left. I need to remake the baby steg, the Triceratops, and the Stegosaurus in that yarn to restock these that sold. Big blue steg, and then I sold one of the orange brontos, free pattern on Instagram. I had them all lined up on one corner of the table. I sold a lot of dinosaurs. I think I sold 7 dinosaurs. Then I sold another Loafcat, another one where I took a variegated yarn and held it together with a strand of the just chenille, so it was very squishy and all the little colors in there. So it was $209. Sometime later than that, I don't have the exact time because I was not being good about that. I sold the big blue Tilly the Triceratops. So that's another one that was made with the Bernat Blanket Crystal Oceans blue. I forgot to tell the story back when I sold the big blue Stegosaurus. There's this young man who wanted it and his mother wanted to get it for him, but I couldn't take credit cards. She was trying to scan my Venmo, but she couldn't get a cell phone signal either. And her son goes, I got a signal. She goes, yeah, but you don't have Venmo on your phone. So she had him take a picture of my Venmo QR code. Then they both went outside. She scanned the code off his phone and paid me the $20 and then came back in and showed me the verification on her phone and she got the dinosaur. But then I couldn't get into my phone to make sure, like to get the verification email until like an hour later when I left. As soon as I walked out of the building, carrying stuff out to the car, my phone's going like ding, ding, boop, boop, all these noises. Like, yeah, here's all the stuff that's come in from the last couple hours. And then the final sale of the day was very special. I hope I have a picture of the sleepy bear that I made with some of the yarn from the last bag of the Miss Shy Scrappy Challenge. I made that sleepy bear. And one of the vendors there, who used to be right next to me, but she got moved down the hallway, she is a proud Grammie to an adorable little 3-month-old baby now. She was showing me pictures of this baby girl in her Halloween costume. And she wanted something for her. And it was like, when I was making that bear, I was thinking, this is going to be perfect for like a little baby because it's so squishy. It's chubby and squishy, and it's got the embroidered eyes, so it's all baby safe. And just to know that it's going from someone I know to her granddaughter that she's just so excited about. I was like, yay! So my total sales for the day were $300 minus the $50 table fee. I net $250. For me, that's a good show. It was my best indoor show of this year. I wish it would have been better. I mean, I have had shows at this school where I had $500 in sales, but I'll take it. I'll take it. And I probably have more stories from the show. I do have like all the finished items that I made on the trip back, but this video was long enough already, and I went off. The big sellers for the day, dinosaurs. I sold a lot of dinosaurs. I sold like 7 dinosaurs. I did sell 4 Loafcats, like 2 little ones and 2 big ones. I finally sold a couple of the chicken in a basket, but a lot of it was just spread out, all different categories. Well, I think there were 25 items that I sold. Do I have the... No, I don't have the 2025 list here. Now I've got 2 weeks to my next show. So the next show can be, it's another one of those local high school shows. Currently, one of the shows, I think last year's show, fall show, is in the top 10. It's number 10. Yeah, it was even better than this one. So we shall see. If I am in the same place that I've been for the last 2 years, I have a plan to increase my display space. I'm hoping to get an email like this week or so to get that. One of the things on my list today is to sketch out a plan for that setup so that I can start loading my grid and sorting stuff out and getting things ready so it's not a last minute deal. Okay, I need to get this edited. I need to go watch Shannon and another yarn. I was busy with something else at breakfast and didn't have breakfast with Shannon this morning. And I need to start to attack my to-do list for the day. I have a couple of Etsy listings that are in dire need of updating. I know I had said I wasn't going to update Etsy until after the next show, but there's some stuff that really needs updating. And since I have things together, like all the ducks in one bag, one of the things is the mushroom duck listing I need to update. So I'm going to work on that. And I need to make another Bananasaurus. Seems like whenever I make a Bananasaurus, it sells. So I need to find some bright yellow yarn. Oh, looky there. There's some bright yellow yarn. And make a Bananasaurus. And Cassandra at Craftably Ever After introduced a new crochet along. And I need to work on that. And I think I better stop adding stuff to my list.